everyone. Welcome back to Clout is Not Currency, where we have conversations on worth, value, and influence. I am your host, Blessing Makosha, aka Big Money B, because I'm focused on cheddar, I'm focused on cheese, and I don't let a bum chick get a touch up on me. Today, I have a very special guest with me. I've got my boy Brendan, aka 20 Days of June. I love that you're here. Like I always get so happy seeing you on my platform. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. My dog decided to join us as soon as we were on here before. He didn't say a word. As soon as you press record,
That's my
here he
dog.
goes. But hi, thank you for having me. Hello, everybody watching. Hi, how are you guys? Everybody, we've been through it today. We've been trying to get this done, so I hope you guys enjoy this conversation because we
Yes.
work hard to try to make this happen. We were just
We
talking
put
about that before
we
this.
pushed hard to get here, yes. And in service of that, I want to make sure that you like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe. And make sure that you head over and check out Brendan's platforms, especially his Patreon, where he has his own podcast, introspective thoughts, and also other great content on rap and hip hop culture, and actually pop culture as a whole, which is what I really appreciate about you as well.
Yep. Thank you.
Um, all right, so let's talk about the first topic. So I wanted to talk about Kanye West Genius documentary. I just want to caveat you guys before the Twitter activists find me. We are just talking about the sort of primary source material as it is in front of us. You know, this really interesting documentary about Kanye in his foundational years. Current Kanye, that's a whole separate conversation to have with someone that's not me. So Brandon, what have you been
Yes.
thinking about Genius? Whilst I pull up my notes. So for those who aren't familiar, because they may live under a rock, a recent Netflix, I think it's a trilogy, if I'm not
I
wrong.
think so. I think it
Um,
is. Two parts are
yeah,
out, but I've only seen one.
and it's about Kanye West. It's just talking about his sort of life, career, just the story of him. I think the thing that's really hitting for me is that you can see Donda West, his late mother, in those first two episodes. And a lot of people have been saying things like, this Kanye documentary is showing me that I'm not going hard enough for my dreams, all sorts of comments like that. So I wanted to know what you think. What have you thought of the documentary so far, and has it been inspiring you at all?
I've seen the first part. I haven't seen the second, but
Okay.
it's weird. It's weird, but it's not because I remember somewhat what it was like when Kanye get on when he got on, and I remembered that go hard. And
Mm,
it reminds me sometimes Nicki had that same go hard, but a lot of people don't realize maybe sometimes somebody that sprung forward was
mm-hmm.
probably held back for so long.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I say a lot. It's a thing about Kanye where a lot of people are so intrigued by his creative process and how Kanye creates, and a lot of people are they say things like at one point Travis Scott was his muse. At one point, Kid Cudi
Mm,
was his muse.
mm,
Kanye takes these people. He took designer. He takes these things and he's inspired and he's a muse. But a lot of people don't realize long before Kanye was a muse. Kanye was used by Rockefeller to give his beats. He was used a lot and didn't. He wasn't seen as a rapper. He wanted to be the star. He was able to make the sound, but every time when street was dominating hip hop, which it's back dominating hip hop again,
mm-hmm.
Kanye wasn't that. So him and his two polos and his backpacker scene and his difference, it wasn't what he couldn't be seen in the same light as those guys. So whenever he wanted to rap, it was just kind of like, eh. But what Kanye had was his musicality. What Kanye had was his personality. He represented us. He spoke to me in a way that maybe
Yeah.
some rappers didn't at the time. He did, and he was one of the first. So I think we need to see these stories and these documentaries. The fact that he even had a camera, you know, around with him is nuts because that was vlogging even a thing. I don't even know. Did he invent vlogging? Did I don't know. Like I know it's a
You need to
documentary
check with
style, but
Soldier Boy first.
and what I want people to also realize is that vapid energy in the music industry. They did not care what they were listening to. It was who was playing it. They didn't, and long before it was about long. And people say, "Oh, that's the way it is now." No, look at that. They didn't care
Mm,
what they were hearing. They didn't care that it was the next joint. They cared it came from you. So in
mm.
that regard, has the music industry really even changed? I don't think so. Because if anybody would have opened their ears, they would have heard what we know.
And it's so
They
obvious to us looking at it now. I mean, something I wrote down in my notes, is just like you said. So, this whole thing that Kanye was saying about he's not rapping like in the industry way, he's rapping his own truth and what he knows, and rapping with that life experience is more impactful. It's gonna have a stronger sort of like resonance over time. And this whole thing about like rejection from the industry and like forcing people to respect you, that like you said, that spring forward energy, really spoke to me, reminded me of Nicki. And the particular thing that stood out for me with Kanye was this idea that they wouldn't let him be a producer and a rapper. Like he had to fight for that. And it reminded me of just like even in my life, how a lot of people don't understand how I can be both a lawyer and a rapper and a creative. And I feel very uncomfortable by having to justify my multifacetedness. And I really related to that with Kanye, um in this like documentary. So I love as well that it spoke to you and you can remember
You know
that.
what I related to? But you know what I relate to? And I'll tell you
Mhm.
what I relate to the most. And a lot of people don't like this because they penalize our those geniuses that get there are people who have to fight. When you have to fight all day to say, I don't know what it is that this is. It doesn't have value, but I know in the future it's valuable. To fight for
Yeah,
your vision, to be a visionary is so difficult. And you get so used to fighting when they get to a point of where we believe them already, they can't stop fighting. Then they call you unlikable. That's what being a genius really is. And that's what it's
basically.
really about is you got to see that he's not left that place. He finds that place. He finds it everywhere he goes in every industry he does. He found fashion. He's finding tech. He's finding lifestyle because they're things that where the it's insurmountable. It's almost looks like it's impossible that it can happen, and that's really what it's about. So, I see a lot of how the insanity becomes. It's almost like watching the Joker, like a villaining story. Like even though I don't
It
see
is.
Kanye as a villain, but mad genius is really a thing. It really is.
It is an origin story, and I feel that pressure. Like there's sometimes with me, especially when I feel like, so just as a bit of context, in there was recently an article in one of the biggest newspapers in the country, and they were talking about legal influencers. So, people who are pursuing career in law and creating content. Mind you, I created my Blessing at the Bar channel in 2017. And this article basically said no such account or no such platform exists for people trying to become barristers. And I was just like, so I don't exist. And stuff
Right.
like that.
Right.
You don't want to. I have sometimes I feel like I'm having to check myself and be like, look, when it does come that your flowers are given, I don't want to be like still mad, if that makes sense, because
We
I knew
are,
that I was.
and I understand exactly what you're saying is, and I say that too, and a lot of people don't realize why I take breaks from YouTube. They don't get it.
Yeah,
And they think that it is all about like, well, I don't get it. The song is out. I want your opinion and da da da.
yeah,
They don't understand what the flame that you're trying to keep alive.
and
Because
you have to go
it
away.
is so easy as a creative to pack your things up and go home, to just be like, you know what, they don't get it, I don't care, like they ain't good enough for it or whatever, and just take your toys and go home. And not like, I don't want to play, I'm not bringing what is mine to the game. But it's also very easy to let the game completely wring you dry and use you. Kanye
Period.
could have continued to make beats and never tried to play his record, never tried it. He had the guts to try
Mhm.
it. And I think that's what we have to understand is, as humans, you gotta have guts. It takes a lot. It takes a lot of nerve. I think a lot of people don't understand that we are all put on this earth and they say choose from beaten paths. What do you want to be when you grow up? A doctor, a this, or a that. And the paths are pretty much
Set
linear.
out.
But when you choose
Yeah.
a path, they're set out for you. But if you choose a path that is not linear, if there's no clear way to go, you're going to be met with a lot of closed doors. And you're going to be met with a lot of closed doors, and those are going to hurt on a lot of different levels, deep levels, and it almost is going to take a certain amount of crazy to get there. My thing is, how are we going to be different once we get there and know how to let the crazy go? And then if you let the crazy go, do you lose your talent?
That's the
I don't know.
thing. Like that's the thing. It's hard because you want to let the crazy go so you can have peace.
I love my crazy. I call mine Nad. I call mine. I call him Nadnerb because he's my name backwards. He is insane. He's insane. And he's in the corner of the room all the time. He's the petty one. He wants to do it just out of spite. He's that one, right? But me personally, I just want to be happy. If I let him go, then I don't know if I let him go, I'm gonna go straight to like just chill. I need that hustle. I need that dog. I need him. I need him. And I feel like that's what it's about. But we have to be able to keep have an awareness. But Kanye never had an awareness of big yay and small yay. It's all one. That's the problem. We know who the monster is and how to be like, hey, ah, ah, and to check it. So I don't think you'll have that problem. Self awareness is
I
your
appreciate.
saving grace.
I think I love that you've got yours as well because mine is well. I feel like that's what Big Money B is for me because like you know I feel like Big Money will especially with the rapping thing. Like I could say stuff out of spite. I could just. I know I can always go there, but also it's my. I feel like it's the personification of my ambition because like big money she only wants big money. What do you have to do to get big money? You got to be bold, you got to be brave, you got to take risks, you got to put yourself out there, you got to protect the
And you
brand.
have to be delusional to believe in something that no one else will even validate. You have to just you gotta like it's like you just cracking beer cans on your skull until it don't hurt no more. It takes a lot, and that's what the documentary just kind of shows me. That's where it comes from. It comes from that. You get told enough, it comes from that. If Drake had one, I bet you Drake would see all of us calling him corny, and you would watch him go harder and write more, and it goes crazy till it catches Wayne's attention. He was standing next to Wayne, and we were telling Wayne, I don't care if you're the best rapper alive. You shut up. He's corny. He had to go harder and harder and harder to now. Look at him. He's Drake. It came from being told you suck enough.
I can't believe everyone told Drake he sucked. Like I actually remember that. Like it was
Because he was a
so
child star to us, so we looked at him like Raven Simone. We didn't want her music either.
true. True. Wow. Shout
We
out
didn't
to
want it.
Raven with the reboot. I hope that goes well.
I think I heard it had. I had no idea. It's 5 seasons in. 5 seasons in. 5 seasons in. Raven told me. I said what?
I'm sorry, Auntie Raven.
Disney getting to the bag over there. Disney
I
getting to
didn't
it.
know. I didn't know.
It
Okay,
don't matter because it ain't for us.
I just wanted to wrap before we move on to talk about Nicki Minaj. I wanted to wrap up this interesting thing. Which this interesting thing I saw Kanye say during the documentaries. So he was supposed to be speaking at this event in Chicago in his hometown, and his name was Kanye West at the time. This is how he was presenting himself, but they put him on the billing as just Kanye, and he was kind of complaining, and he was like, like that's like going to Atlanta and introducing Jermaine Dupri and being like, and now here's Jermaine. So I was just thinking like that whole thing about being adamant over who you are and what your brand is.
But I think
What do
Kanye
you
did that
feel about that?
specific reason though, and I think it's because people only want you for, and I think you know this, is about society and about roles that we are forced to play here in this whole humanity thing, whatever it is. Once they get to know you for something, and we talked about this a little bit before, but in a different aspect, they want you for that thing. And the people around Kanye wanted him for production, so they didn't want him for rap. But the problem with Kanye being a rapper is that Kanye's always known he was a genius. That does not say rapper.
Mm,
So once I become a rapper, and he spoke about this on Drink Champs, and you put me in this rapper box, Where this is, if Kanye would have came out and said, I'm a genius and a fashion designer and an X, Y, or Z, he would have never gotten through. The easiest way to get through was to say, I am a musician. I'm a rapper. America heard him, they heard the music, and he gains his influence this way. But after he breaks that mold of being a rapper, now he says, when you say rapper, you're calling me the N word. You're belittling my intelligence. I'm not just a rapper. So him being deliberate about that is there's an intention there that I feel like he wants to drive home there is that call me genius. Don't put me in a box. Don't call me
Mm.
this. I can do music, but I also do tech. I do fashion. I do it all at the same excellence that I do music because it all comes from me. And you don't get to call me musician, comma, because you only want to ingest me in that way. And I feel like that's what he's
100%.
fighting for is in a role to be able to be seen like that. Elon Musk, we call him genius. Jeff Bezos, we call him genius. I don't call him merchant. I call him genius. I want to call Kanye the same.
Exactly.
And black people, we deserve to fight for the same. So he sounds
Period.
crazy because he sees things in such a bigger societal way as to what it means. But that's just because he's up there. But he's correct.
That I love, and do you know what? Like, honestly, for me, I could inject that into my own journey right now in so many ways. Like, I get so irritated. Sometimes people will be like, they'll call me a content creator, and I'm like, it's not that I'm not. It's
Yeah.
just that, like, I also do a lot of other things. And it's like, people always expect that one of the things isn't that good, or like something's gonna not be as good, because they're like, oh, well, how can you be a barrister and be a rapper and be a fly girl and be a creator and do this and do business? And it's like,
But
I don't
even when they
know.
say, but even when they say content creator, like I say Kanye, okay, musician, that doesn't put Kanye and Cardi B in the same conversation because Cardi does one thing, but Kanye also does production. Kanye does this. Kanye does this. He doesn't write as much, but there's a level of expertise there that also doesn't require. When you say content creator, there are some content creators who don't put as much effort in, but some of us are producers, some of us are engineers. I sound engineer my podcast, like I'm getting to the bag over there, and I'm proud of it. Your set design is amazing. When I see your clips, you're amazing. Your marketing is amazing. Your branding is amazing. So they say content creator, but that belittles what it really is. I'm a walking business on legs
Hey,
and
hey,
respect
hey,
it.
hey.
I am Fox News on legs. I do that too. They do YouTube. They come here. They came here because that's where the people were. When they didn't see value in YouTube, they weren't putting their content here. We were.
Exactly.
But that's what Genius is telling us to do is to take pride in what we really do and to stand in that. And I feel like if you just focus on what Kanye really means for creators, then you can't get distracted by what they want you to focus on because they want you to focus on certain things when there's a lesson to learn as a creative. Maybe don't make the same mistakes,
Yeah, we don't have to follow everything.
but
But
that's
there are
the point of being
things
able to
to
watch it.
do.
It's the
Amen.
point.
Amen. Okay, so let's move into the second topic. So that is La Nicki Minaj. So
La Nicki Minaj.
Nicki
La Nicki
Minaj.
Minaj.
So where do we start with Miss Onika? So last we spoke on episode 10 of Clout is Not Currency, she done her double release. Or maybe
What's
she
it though?
had she done a double release, or maybe she just done Do We Have a Problem and then did Bussin'. But point
It
is,
was a 1.5 release and then a half
it was a
release.
one and a half. It was a one and a half.
Thank you. It was a 1.5 and then a point 0.5.
It was that's based. Yeah, anyway, point of the story is the conversation moved. So the Barbs did really well, debuted at number 2 on Billboard Hot 100. And then things started to move into the space of, okay, how do we keep it stable? Let's add in radio play. So I wanted to start with that radio play conversation with you first, Brendan. So obviously we know, because we kind of have these understandings of the industry, but why is radio so important for artists in 2022, in your view?
Let me just say is that I love this. I love this because this is about, and if we're talking about Nicki in the same vein as we see Kanye,
Mm,
Blessing, what is a song? What is a song to you? You make music.
a good
What is a
one or a
song
bad one?
to you? What is a song? You make music. What is a song? Where does it start?
I feel like it has to start with some sort of point of view.
Right. So it starts with your feel. It starts with a point of view. It starts with a feeling.
Yeah.
Nicki Minaj had a feeling and went in
Mm,
the booth, made a song, whether you like it or not. You
mm,
look at them pure sales, those aren't people who have gone to Spotify to talk to them, to listen to their little ad for that music. Those aren't people who went to YouTube to wait for to skip ad. Those are people who went directly to Nicki Minaj and said, "Yo, I spend my money with you."
mm.
That is buying power. That is a threat to the music industry because
Say it
the music
again.
industry created streaming so that way they could be routed through the money because they do deals with the record companies on the back end, so they get paid differently.
Mm,
What Nicki's able to do, apart from whether you want to talk charts, people want to talk charts with me. In my opinion, if you start talking charts and if you start talking chart performance, and that's going to affect the creation of the record. That record doesn't sound like that if that's the objective. It doesn't. That was my point. If this is the objective, that's do we have a problem? It's not the record she puts out. But because she has the barbs who will go and buy direct from consumer, they bought a lot of barbs, went to her website and bought that. They didn't even cut an
yeah.
apple. They went to her
Yeah.
website and they bought that directly. I bought it from you. Your file from your computer got directed to Redeem. That has nothing to do with the industry. If you can see in business how that's a threat, you understand how we get here.
Mm.
She has
Period.
a market value that a lot of other people don't have to. So there's a game that she might not have to play. Is my point, and I
And
feel like that's where we're at with the way that her sales are going to be viewed. I see her as having the most coveted fan base there is.
oh, you know everyone wants the bobs. Like it's not
Because
even
you can
funny
say
what they
because you can honestly say, okay, well nobody listens to Nicki Minaj music besides the Barb's. Okay, well me Nicki Minaj can go downstairs and 49,000 people in a week will listen to whatever I said on my microphone. You do it.
exactly. Would love
We'll
to see
buy it directly for me for $1.49. We'll buy it. That's market value in
exactly.
and of itself. As a creative, I want to be able to create that type of market value for myself. If you look at her just like how you look at us, she's created her product and she's put it out, regardless of whether the business happens around that record. When her deal is done, she can go downstairs and put that out, and 49,000 people in 1 week are going to buy that record. That is a threat to the music industry who wants somebody like her to sign another deal. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Oh, Nikki ain't
What if
signing
she
no
goes off
deal.
grid?
I will go to Universal Records myself and bar the doors before that lady signs another deal. Hell no.
Well, I don't know. If she does her label, if she does it through them,
No,
depends.
I
Depends on
want
what she does with the label.
NFTs. I want direct to consumer. I want like Nikki STEM players. I don't care.
Oh, but do you see what I'm saying? I feel like she can take this off industry and take her clientele and make music for the clientele and feed and let them just I feel like we can totally detach from the music industry. But the
Yeah,
problem is the average barb sees chart performance and declining chart performance as a bad thing. And I see it as no, they're showing that because if she goes off the grid, your buying power is pretty intimidating.
pretty. And that's what I'm saying. Like, this is why I feel this is just like as a Barb, I feel like a lot of Barbs don't know how to be Barbs. You know, like we stand a woman that made which bitch you know made $1 million off a mixtape. That's who you stand. That's literally who you stand.
But Joe Budden also made a very, very, very good point about that, which ties into what I'm saying.
Okay,
Who owns that mixtape? Who owns these mixtapes? Nikki's in a position where she can go back and buy that. But before that, mixtapes are called before they're for
true,
promotional use only. So once
true.
again, I'm creating and I'm putting all this, but I can never own it. I don't know, like that's so difficult to go back and to own these things. Whereas now, when Nikki's able to create music, she started off during a time where ownership wasn't even a conversation, and now look at what
Mhm.
she's able to do. She couldn't like Itty Bitty Piggy was Donk. She didn't own that until she had a relationship with Soldier Boy. So it's
Mm.
like the industry is just so different now, and we're watching her go into a situation where, while the industry is still kind of dead, she's proving that her market value in pure sales is something to covet. It just is, but that's a threat to streaming.
That is a stretch. And I think as well, this is what a lot of people with radio distribution, I definitely see the pop barbs and like the pop stands being like, "Yay, Nicki's gonna be like." Look, Nikki, I feel like is that everything that you're saying is what fans should remember. Like the value, the influence. Like we talk about on this podcast, we talk about worth, value, and influence. Like Nikki has just shown that she just keeps showing over and over again. She doesn't need the machine in the same way other people need the machine.
But I'm gonna go out on a ledge here. I want the machine.
You
I
want
want
it?
it
You
because
want the
Drake has
whole?
it. Because Drake has it,
Yeah,
and I
Drake
feel
does
like
have it.
she can have a happy medium where she can work with the machine and it can still work out. I'm not gonna budge on that. I feel like she's had access to the machine before, and I want it because I like the machine. I like the bells and whistles. I like the magic. I like when Disney
I
is
like it
Disney and
when
not
you
about
like
the bells
open
and
your little
whistles. I like that.
apps and then like Nikki's face is there and it's like, do you want to
I
hear
want
this
all
new
of it. I want all of it. But my thing with that was, everybody witnessed. Do we have a problem? We finally got everything we wanted. She's on the cover of Rap Caviar. We get the playlist thing. We see the Spotify billboard, all the whoop, 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 and all that stuff that usually passes her by. I want 73 questions with Vogue. I want
I want it,
Corden, and
man.
I
Give
want
me all.
Corden. I want 73 vote. I want the 73 questions with Vogue, and I want carpool karaoke. I
I
don't know
want
why
that
that didn't
hot
just happen.
wings. What's that hot wings one they all do when they're
Hot
doing?
ones. I want hot ones.
I
I
want a
want
hot
all of that.
one.
I want her to go through the eras on Allure, all of
Oh
that
yeah, that
YouTube.
like
Sit
GQ one
her
where they like
down.
make you
Can't
search
live
yourself.
without. Sit her down and make her do it all. I want the entire gamut, and that's what I mean. But I also want it done behind a record that can do that. And I don't think Do We Have a Problem sonically is the record that's gonna go with that. I think that the record does have to be a little bit more poppy, and that doesn't mean pop. That just means it has to be more up tempo. And I know she has
Give
them.
it.
So it's just a matter of a choice. It's gotta just have a little bit of bop to it. Like whatever, we can have guns, but we got to be here with the guns.
Not the
That's all.
like the
Like
pink ones.
not like we just got to be here. Katie got bands. Just a little
Yes, come
bop.
on,
All we're missing is a
industry
little bop to it, and we'll be all right.
Nikki. Industry Nikki, all 2022.
I like the fake and the phony. That's fun for me. I like the mixy. That's fun. I love it. Let's play ball. Let's
Let's
make it. No
I
one's
think
comfortable here.
Nikki
It's a
does it the
game.
best though. Nikki does do it the best. I just feel like when I see Nikki move, I'm like, no, you guys, that's a real influencer at work.
Yeah.
Like that is an influencer, not like a fake one, not like a public sympathy one, but this woman, like Nikki does, we follow. And
That's someone who had studio time and had a product at the time. The music wasn't in an area at the time. She wasn't selling thoughts. She was selling CDs. She had to move CDs at the time to be on the come up DVD. The come up DVD, people had to like you, so she had to sell personality. She sold
yeah.
a lot of different things. It's crazy to be able to sell her music. You know how many different things she has had to sell. Even
Mm,
and then star 5 star chick era, she had to sell body. She had to start to compete. She had to, you know what I mean. She comes in, she does all this. It's all of this is she's had to be able to make it possible, and that's what it takes to be a creative, but to be a genius. But she's another person who then when it don't tap that, you know what I mean. When it don't tap that, she has to tap out of it. People want to say she's unlikable. That's when as a creative, I say no. I know where it comes from
I
because
know.
you were forged in the fire. You're
You
born of
can't get
fire.
someone like built in, like you know what I mean? Like, and now
They-
you
it-
wanted to do up. No,
and my thing is my favorite Nicki songs are the songs that usually aren't chosen anyway. I love
yeah.
Here I Am
Here
personally
I
on
Am
Pink
is
Friday.
my
That was my
favorite. Now
favorite
that's my
song.
favorite Nicki Minaj song.
You know what I mean? Like people don't always pick. She doesn't, the records I love of Nicki's aren't always the singles anyway. So when it
Yeah,
comes to picking singles, I want her to pick the one that I just feel like is going to be easiest digestible to the average idiot who don't know shit about you. Because I'm going to listen to the album. Just pick the
I'm listening
dumbest
to
one
the
for the
album.
dumbest bitch,
Like Nick,
and I'll be fine.
like
Like I'll take it.
I'm a Nip Tuck run and hide stand. Like I'm a like I'll be listening
I
to
don't
like
want the album to sound like that though.
I Lie Mona Lisa. No, I don't even know what I want the album to sound like anymore. I
I
used to.
do. I do. I do know what I want it to sound. I know. Do you want
What
me
do
to
you
tell you what I
like?
want it to sound like? I can tell you exactly what I want it to sound like.
Which
I
one?
want it to sound like Nicki Minaj rapping. I don't want any of those records like Bed or like Nip Tuck or even there is a piece of "Do We Have a Problem" aside for the flow that she found, because that pocket she found was crazy on the first verse. The music, the
Well,
musicality of it sounds like music that could have been made by anybody. I don't want the music to sound like it could be somebody else. The music has to have a sound that is that of only Nicki Minaj is on this. Somebody has stepped into Nicki Minaj's world. Kanye has that recently. Have you heard the Kanye music, the clarity and the production, all of it? It sounds like
I've been
Ye.
hearing it.
Right. It sounds like Ye. Whoever has to step in there has to step into that Ye, what's going on. I want that for Nicki. I want Nicki to not make it so easy to meet in the middle with these male artists sometimes. I want them to be able to, if they can't go, then go.
I love when Nikki
Uh,
goes when no one else can go, and then everyone else just has to deal.
well, I want her to lyrically surround herself with rappers. And my thing is, a lot of people think that that only means, oh well, I want her to be with pop rappers. No, if you're gonna go street, if you're gonna do a street record, get Lil Baby out of here, because Lil Baby should have been able to be, you know, what I mean, Lil Baby can do more of a upbeat, up tempo record, but his feature doesn't mean that much. If Nicki's gonna rap, I want to see Nicki rap with Russ. I want to see Nicki rap with Conway. I want to see Nicki rap. There's a lot of street rappers that's rap, but there's a lot of street rappers that's rapping. And I know we'll see Nicki and Fabio, but Fabio, his cadence is, he raps, but his cadence doesn't change as much.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of
What
street
about
rappers out
do
here
do
that
you
are
see
rapping.
Minaj? What about like Nicki on some like Griselda beats?
It's New York. That's what I'm talking about. But I feel like I would like to hear Nicki and Benny would be cool. Nicki and Benny would be cool. But Nicki and Conway, I'm not sure what I would want Benny or Conway.
Is
But
Conway
I
the
feel
one
like
that goes? Is Conway the one that's like yeah yeah yeah? That guy.
that's West Side. That's West. Hey
West
yo,
Side.
hey yo, it's West. But I like West too. But I like some about West. Like, can you imagine that cold, chilly feeling of West Side Gun on a Nicki Minaj
Yeah,
intro?
that cold
Crazy.
East
The
Coast
same way
winter.
but the same way that Kanye had that Nicki intro on My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. There's places
Yeah.
to pull from to make this like whole. But I do feel like I also want to make sure that the sound is as she's locked into it. Do We Have a Problem to me felt like we wanted Lil Baby a little bit too comfortable. I if Lil Baby can't, if the pink wig doesn't fit Lil Baby, then I don't think he should be on it. I want that. If the wig don't fit, you must have quit.
Why is Drake always
That's how
around
I feel.
you? Drake seems to be
Why is Drake what?
lurking around. Nicki just
Because
keeps
I think Drake's gonna
mentioning.
executive produce. I think Drake's gonna executive produce the album. I do.
Is that why Drake? Because she just keeps mentioning Drake is
Because
around.
she runs all the music by him. So that's what that means. She's running all the music by him. But I think she's also kind of like, I don't think she's looking for what he's saying. Because if you notice, I think one of the interviews, she did so many interviews, she said she played Bustin' or whatever, and she saw like she's not watching what he's saying about it, she's watching his face. And when
Mm.
she played Do We Have a Problem, she watched him go, wait, hold on, cut that again. That's when she made the decision. You react it. You act.
Ah.
She's not like Drake, pick for me. She just kind of like, yo, listen to that. You listen to that. Like she's just, it's brother sister. It's brother sister. It's creativity. It's fun. It's life, and we
Oh,
gotta
I
allow
love
breathing
that.
for that.
Okay. So let's wrap the podcast. Just I want to get some quick thoughts from you. So Nikki
Okay.
is coming to London this summer for Wireless. So if you guys don't know, Wireless is one of the like open air festivals we have in London. It's a big thing in the UK because we don't have as much space as you guys. So we like find our biggest park and then we just like fit as many people as we can in it and then have a festival
Fair.
basically. But Wireless is one of the biggest
We don't have
ones.
space either. We don't have space. We don't have space either. We just disregard safety laws, as you saw in Astro World. We don't have space. We just don't care.
But no, so Nikki's was put on as the headliner for Sunday, so she's the closing headliner, and she sold out the show. She's the only date that's sold out. So the Barb in me wants to drag because it's certain girls that were bragging about being rap superstars that haven't sold out their days. So that's just me go. But I always like talking to you because you always like
Because I'm gonna say it. Because I'm gonna say it. That's why. Because you know I'm
you're
gonna
a
say it. You're gonna float out there, and I'm gonna say it.
You're a
You know I'm
state.
gonna say it. Okay, well, the truth of the matter is that you have to make sure that, I mean, what we said, a lot of people sell music, you get known for a thing, but it's about what you sell. And are you talking about Cardi or are you talking about Meg? Who's that wireless?
Oh, do you know what with Meg? I'm just,
Well,
it's
we'll
not
talk about both. Let's talk about both. Let's talk about both. Let's talk about both. Let's talk about both. Let's
really.
talk about both.
I didn't even put Meg in the convo, but ciao, let's do it.
Cardi recently has not put out any music. And I like all of Cardi's verses, but Cardi has not made an effort to advance her music story. Therefore, her market value is in that regard is going to decrease. Now, when we're talking about your market value, a lot of girls get on now, same way Kanye did. They say, "I'm rapper, I'm
Mm,
rapper." So because you're rapper, that's all that matters is that you're rapper. But when it comes down to can you sell albums? Can you get people out of seats? Can you get people out of their homes? Can you separate somebody from their cash for you?
yep.
That's different. You know how it is, let's say on your YouTube and then on your Patreon. This many people have come to me for free, but this
A
many people
drop off from
rock with me.
YouTube to Patreon is hefty.
But then you see my value. You see what I'm
Period.
saying? Now you see my value. When you have to separate somebody from their cash, if you want to compete with something, compete with what Nicki Minaj did for that Sunday date.
Yeah.
Compete with that 49,000 on that pure. Compete with that value. Not the short term, the long. Cardi has invested in a lot of short. We see
Yeah.
Megan Cash App, Megan Cheetos, Saweetie and Crocs. Everybody's selling Fashion Nova jeans, fast denim. All this is so fast that it doesn't matter. But long term impact is not something that you've mastered. If you want to compete with something, compete with that. Because it's not like Nicki's going to, it's not like people are even going to even hear Queen. People are going to hear Nicki Minaj records from any time during her career.
People
This
want to
could be
see
at
her
any
be
given
like,
point from
"Yeah, me
2008.
and
That could be
R&B
at any
best
given
in the
point.
league." And never-
But it could be at any given point from 2008 on.
There's enough
That's
there.
about legacy. That's about legacy. And y'all little popcorn music and y'all quick accolades and your bought Grammys and all this other stuff and all these business dealings you're doing to appear successful isn't getting assets out of seats. And it's not getting people to spend money on you the way you think you are. They're buying jeans and they want Popeye sauce, but they ain't buying you. And I think a lot of people just have a chip on their shoulder in that regard because there's so much to sell other than yourself. If you get a
There's-
bag for being a spokesmodel, congratulations. That's not music.
and we just need to start being honest about that. The stands need to start,
Oh, the
change.
stands will defend anything. They like who they like, and they pick who they like, and they accept and they justify whatever they like, and that's completely fine. You don't want to do that, that's fine. But all of you guys come to people like Blessing and us because you want to hear the truth, whether you want to accept it or not. You want to hear it come out of somebody's face. So that's why we're going to sit here and be able to give it to you because you want to hear it and you want to argue with it, but you also want to know it exists,
True.
and
And
we do.
T, T. I'm just so proud. Like it brought a young bad bee tear to my eye just to see. I just want, like, I just need Nikki to know her brand is good. I know she knows her brand is good, but like I wanted to know the brand is
She
good.
hasn't performed in a long. She hasn't performed in a long time, and then it's also like her catalog is so from here from there. You want to hear what sticks out to her. What is she like? What does she pull? What does she
What
think
she
the
picked,
story
what
is?
she
What is
put
she
in the
gonna pick?
set. Yeah.
Right, and it means so much because there's so many different like records that you almost want to go when you hear someone like Nicki Minaj at Wireless. You're like, what matters to you? You think, what do I gotta hear? What does she gotta play? She has one of those records for everybody. Cardi, I don't know if she has that yet. Well, Cardi B's not she's not a legacy act yet. So what Nicki's been able to do is because she has a legacy. But Cardi has one album and a bunch of features. It's just not the same for when somebody would say, "Oh, we're going to Wireless on this date. If I have to pick a date, that's the Nicki show. I'm going to pick this date." Because your backlog of when you're thinking about a festival ticket is it could be anything. To Cardi, you're hearing Invasion of Privacy, Money, or Up or
Wow.
WAP.
Wow. Yeah. What do you think about these artists that invested in the short term? So like the Cardis, the Megans, anyone that
It's not
could.
their fault. It's not
I
their
know it's not
fault.
their fault, but do you think that they can convert that into legacy? And if so, how? When you've been given everything so quickly for surface level accolades, how do you then turn that into legacy? Can they? Or is it more?
I kind of talked about this with Bobby. I kind of talked about this with Bobby and on Bobby Foster. Me and him did a podcast together, and it was like, can music matter? Because every Friday is like a tidal wave. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter what happened last week. Somebody else paid for it, and it's like somebody else paid for the promo. Somebody else is getting the Spotify
Then
billboard.
like you see that
Somebody else is getting the Amazon
famous
Music.
cover
So it's always
changes.
so impact by and large is difficult, but I think impact is difficult because some of us told you guys in 2017, hey, what they're doing with invasion of privacy specifically is going to break the industry a little bit, and you didn't listen. So Cardi might be pigeonholed to make music matter when she was used to kind of make
Yeah.
us accept a lot of things that were abnormal about that process, like the Grammy, like the numbers. Like, we got to be real about that.
Yeah.
So I think what we more or less need to more or less focus on, if I were an artist, would be focus on your creative process. Make
Exactly.
the music good and make the music count. We may not get to your album that Friday. Maybe we
We'll
will.
get to it, and maybe it's good when we do.
Someone like Cardi pulls amazing focus, and I don't think people realize that. I love Cardi B music, and that's the problem. I heard the song from Bruce. I do. I heard the song from the Bruce soundtrack, but I heard the song from the Bruce soundtrack by accident. I heard that was a good job. That she has a song on the Bruce soundtrack. Just one second, she has a song on the Bruce soundtrack by accident. If you listen to it, she was talking so crazy, and I said, "Now, why doesn't that matter? Why did none of us hear that? If you're so powerful, why didn't I hear this verse? If it matters, did it matter more that we see you next to Holly Berry and that you executive produced the album on Bruised that we forgot to listen to your words? Yep. Y'all made a big stink about her executive producing the album and that it being a big deal, but we forgot to listen to what she was actually saying. And that's the difference of what impact is about and the way they make you view things. It's about being seen as a person who's making moves rather than being as seen as somebody who in the beginning I said, what is a song? You said it comes from a point of view. If I don't listen to your music, how do I get that?
Exactly. And I think that's where the longevity lies. Oh, how insightful. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap that there because you're just spitting facts. Thank you so much for being a guest on Clout is Not Currency.
Barty gang, leave me alone. I love your girl. We talking market value. I'm just reacting
Yeah,
to what I'm seeing.
this
I'm
is
sure when she puts out her single, it'll do amazing. I will stream it. I like type shit. I like clout. Leave me alone. I will mute you. But the
and
truth is the
also
truth.
Bob's, like, you guys have tried to do this before with 20 Days of June with Sir Brendan. He doesn't care. He's he's gonna have his opinions. Leave his ass
I'll
alone.
delete the app. I will. I don't care. But I will also say this. It comes from, and I'll also say this about wireless. One last point. When
Yeah,
you've done a world tour, when you've done a world tour before, when you've touched down and established market share as a performer in another country, you can do it again.
yeah.
But if you haven't done it before, then maybe it's a
Keep
little
it
bit
cute.
difficult.
It takes time. Well, I love our conversations. All right.
Can't buy that. Can't buy that. Can't clout that up. Gotta work that old fashioned way.
And on that note, I hope that this episode has inspired you to think differently about worth, value, and influence, and empowered you in some way, especially my creatives out there. Brendan and I really want to hear from you if you've resonated with what we've talked about today. We've talked a lot about creativity and integrity. So, like, drop those comments below. How do you feel about all of this conversation? I've seen in the comments a lot of you on the channel are aspiring, artists. You are creatives too. And definitely check out Brendan's content because I really enjoy. Do you still do that thing where you listen to people's songs and then give them a little feedback?
I can. If people want to hit me and do that, I can totally do
I
that.
love
I
it when
haven't
you
done it
do
in a
that.
while, but I totally can. I'm pretty sure I can figure out a way to make it more more professional sounding than I did at the time. That was the only thing that I hated. I felt like I could hear the music, and so I liked it because I could hear it, but y'all would hear it through the other speakers and be like, "Boy, what you talking about? That trash." So I
Oh,
have to figure out how to fix that. But like, yeah,
maybe TikTok
yeah,
or
we'll
something,
get to work.
something cute. But
Yeah,
basically, what I wanted
yeah.
to say is that if you are an artist, a creative, Brenton's a great person to listen to. He's definitely inspired me. And a lot of the stuff
Thank
we've
you.
talked about today about needing to like withdraw so you don't lose the passion. I want to know if any of you guys have felt that, if that resonated with you. If you enjoyed this episode, then please make sure that you like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe if you're watching it on YouTube. And if you are listening to this, make sure that you follow it on your podcast service of choice and leave us a 5-star review. The algorithm has no love for the girl, and you guys know this. Brenda and I, we've talked about Black creatives. We need to get like direct support with that notification
Absolutely.
bell on, heavy on the notification bell on. And yeah, thank you for supporting the podcast so far. Follow Brendan. It's at 20 Days of June on everything. Am I right?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very proud of you. Like I said before, I know probably people, honestly, you're only going to get this gem if you make it past the end of the podcast. So if you turned it off, you're not going to get it. But if you're a creative and you're listening to this, remember when we are talking about your faves, when you're talking about your faves, it is just them and their product. When Blessing is making this podcast, she's holding this the same way Nicki is holding her song, the same way Cardi is holding her ability to tour. We are all trying to establish and make market value, right?
Period.
Don't take the shortcuts. Don't forget about the process of creating what you're creating today. Ad money is not that important. There's more of it than there is love for what you do. And it comes faster, but it's not that important. Stay true to what you do. And that's all I have to say.
Yes. See you guys in episode 12 for our next topic. And yeah, love. See you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.